So we're talking about pre-K readiness. While we are waiting for the special guest to come in, once again, I'm going to give you a little bit about me. I did teach pre-K. I taught private pre-K for 1 year. Right now, I do a part-time. I do it part-time to help out a center that I was working with. And pre-K is important to me. Not only pre-K, I think that the early childhood setting, childcare center setting as a whole is important. Why? Because I believe that it gives a child the things that they need to grow when they can, so that they can be ready for school. There are certain things that you are able to get at home, depending on how your parents interact with you. Hi, how
Hey,
are you?
yes, I'm working today.
Yeah, we made it.
There we go.
We made it today. Once again, I want to say for and accepting to be on. How was your day?
My day was good. It was good. The girls are learning a lot. So I have 3 girls, and then I have another one on the way.
I know.
Um,
I saw your oh, congratulate you on.
yeah, yeah. So every day is busy, but it's been going good. It's been going really good.
Okay. Before we start, I wanted to. So your background, it's kind of, I don't know if it's me, but it's
Yeah, because it's going in and out. You said I'm low.
uh-huh.
Can you hear me louder now?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so we're gonna start. I don't know why, but we're gonna go ahead and get. So, what made you choose?
You said what made me choose pre-K?
What made you choose? And then why
Oh,
pre?
what made me choose? Okay, so education, when I was in Head Start, my mom was a Head Start teacher. So that was kind of cool to be able to see her. Although she wasn't my teacher, it was still cool to see her in that element. And I just loved the whole element of going to school, learning stuff, being able to teach others, and just the whole, background of education is just an ongoing learning thing. So it's just something that's just gonna always keep you on your toes, and that's something that I love. Like I have to be on my toes all the time. So just being able to learn and be able to experience different learning styles and be able to teach kids is something that I felt inside since I was little and just kept going.
Good. Does your mom?
Is she a teacher
Mm,
now? No, she's not. She only did Head Start, and that was it. She got up out of there.
okay, okay. So when you taught pre-K, you wanted your students to know coming into.
Some of the main things, of course, is like name recognition, and if not name recognition, letter recognition, at least of in their names. Learning some kind of sight words, at least like the 1 and 2 phrases of words when it comes to directions, like when it comes to like sit down, and stuff like that. Other things would be just the basic stuff of their colors, knowing their numbers at least up to about 20. Most of them, some of them may not, so at least 10 is fine, and then you kind of just build on that. Of course, manners, um, and that's something that I do not see a lot when I was, or did not see a lot working in childcare, was the whole mannerism thing. And so that's something that I definitely instilled in my kids if they do not have it already. One of the biggest things for me is self-help skills. So being able to ask for help, being able to, at least try to put on socks, try to put on shoes, starting to put on the jacket, and sweaters, and then of course going into pre-K, doing buttoning and zipping and learning how to tie the shoes. If not able to by kindergarten, at least learning, the structures of it, fine motor, gross motor skills as well.
That is when I was teaching. That is something that
You said that's something that you think you didn't
I
see?
could not teach. That's a hard thing to teach.
What? You couldn't teach what?
How to tie the shoe.
Oh, you just got to do it with them. You got everything is kind of hands on with the kids. So instead of kind of, because I think like for me or for like a lot of us, people just kind of tell you the steps and expect you to kind of just do it while they're talking. So for me, it's wearing tennis shoes or some kind of tie-up shoes, or buying like the Melissa and Doug tie-up shoe, and then just kind of showing them with it and coming up with words that relate to them. So bunny ears or tie it in a knot, do a loop-de-loop, and just repetition, practice, and patience is all it takes really with the younger ones. That's the main thing. Repetition, practice, and patience.
So you know that students are learning.
I didn't hear you.
You know that students are doing work.
Mm-hmm.
What are some a pre-K child while they're doing work?
That's hard because for virtual learning, you need to have a good focus, a good attention span, and good patience, and that's something that you can't expect kids to have for a long period of time. Preschool, pre-K, kindergarten, whatever. So it's it's kind of a collaborative thing. So for me, the main thing would just be for students to understand or to have empathy so that they can see when like the teacher may be getting frustrated so that they know to calm down, or in the tone of the teacher they're able to kind of follow and shift with the teacher, because it's hard when you're not in a physical space. Because I know for me, I'm very hands-on, I'm very touchy, very huggy. If you need something, I can be able to console you, by being able to give you a hug or being able to come close to you and talk to you face to face. But well, I guess face to face is virtual too, but in person. And it's hard for kids because they know you're not there. So they can see you and they love seeing the person, but it's hard to expect anything from pre-K kids or preschool kids going into pre-K because they're going to want to get up. So the biggest thing is just to be able to follow those directions and maybe have like those 1 or 2 step direction skills to be able to focus and to be able to sit down for maybe about 5 to 10 minutes at a time. But it also relies back on the teacher to know and not get frustrated when children can't have that attention span, to be able to shift their lesson and just say, all right, everybody get up, we got to move, so that everybody can come back and be together on one accord. And the other biggest thing would just be to have those skills of knowing how to be respectful while being on virtual, allowing other people to, have turn-taking skills, allowing other people to be able to talk, problem-solving skills, so that if something does occur, because you're not in person, you're able to talk through those. So communication skills as well, to say, hey, Miss Alycia, I can't hear you, or I don't know how to do this. So asking for help as well. Those are a lot of things that we don't see in kids these days because we just expect to be teaching them numbers and shapes and colors. But we also have to teach them how to be people, how to listen to their feelings and their emotions, and how to be able to control those and communicate without being aggressive or without throwing temper tantrums or getting too upset to the point where they don't want to solve the problem with you or by themselves.
And you homeschool, correct?
Yes, sir.
What
So
made
I'm
you do that?
homeschooling. Oh, childcare burned me out, honey. It was too much. I felt like I was giving too much to all of these other kids, and although it's exciting to see them grow, I wanted those for my children too. And although they've had great teachers along the way, they weren't me,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of wanted to instill certain things by certain ages, or in childcare, it's okay. You're in the 2-year-old class, we're doing this 2-year-old stuff, that's it. But if a child is 2 and you can see that they're on a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old level, why not push them? Why not try to get them to overstep those boundaries of what we think they should know or what we think they should be doing? And in childcare, they kind of limit you to kind of see exactly where kids are, because it's always strict by the book. We don't want them doing this, we don't want them doing that. And so for me, I just want to be able to keep going. If I can see that my baby's doing her letters, then we're going to keep moving on to something else. If I can see that they're interested in Spanish, which is something I love doing with my kids, then I can incorporate that freely, go at my own pace. And for my kids, they were kind of at a faster pace than a lot of the other kids. And, you know, my oldest was getting to the it's okay, you're in the 2-year-old class, we're doing this 2-year-old stuff, that's it. But if a child is 2 and you can see that they're on a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old level, why not push them? Why not try to get them to overstep those boundaries of what we think they should know or what we think they should be doing? And in childcare, they kind of limit you to kind of see exactly where kids are, because it's always strict by the book. We don't want them doing this, we don't want them doing that. And so for me, I just want to be able to keep going. If I can see that my baby's doing her letters, then we're going to keep moving on to something else. If I can see that they're interested in Spanish, which is something I love doing with my kids, then I can incorporate that freely, go at my own pace. And for my kids, they were kind of at a faster pace than a lot of the other kids. And, my oldest was getting to the age where she could be in my class. And it was just kind of heartbreaking for her to have to go to the class next door to me. And then I'm teaching everybody else. And so it was just like, yeah, let me stay home. It started getting really stressful as well. So medical problems came in to where I was out for a good bit of time. And so I just was like, okay, let me just stay home. Let me see if I can do this. The pandemic came, and so then I just started advertising as a school. I started getting kids, and that's when I was like, oh, like I can really do this. I can have my own school. And even if it's at home at first, like this is what I love doing. So let me start this foundation here. And the girls love it. My oldest loves it. She wants to be a teacher. And so having those other kids here as well gives them that flexibility to have those social skills or get that social interaction that I know a lot of parents are worried about with homeschooling.
So, so you have already started your home.
Say that again?
You started your.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Talk about that. Is that something that you've always wanted to do?
Yes, I've always thought about it. It's always been in the back of my head, but I've always felt like, oh, I need to be more knowledgeable. I need to be more older. Like, I need to be more respectable in the field. I need people to know me so that they can feel comfortable coming here. But once I started just sharing my story and just putting what I'm doing with my girls, on live, because we do circle time every morning live. My kids do it, and then I put it on YouTube. That's something they love doing. And so just being able to allow other people to see me in my comfort zone and be able to talk about it and be passionate about it, it kind of just drew people to me, gravitated people to me. And so then it was just oh, oh, I am this good. I can do this. And I might not have the most money in the world, and it might not be a huge center yet, but the foundation is there. The kids are learning. The parents love it. And being a family child care center or in-home child care center, homeschool, whatever you want to call it, and having people trust you with their child, especially during this pandemic, is just something that I would never have dreamed of. Like, it's something that is just like over top, over to the moon. Like, I don't even know. It's really exciting, and to be able to have my girls with me and see me in that element is good, because they love playing around, and when we're doing school, they're like Miss Alycia too. It's not always mommy, so it's really cool to see them get excited and want to learn, and for me to be that for them, that teacher for them, and just to be able to be at home, be in my own element as well, and excuse me, I see the other kids grow as well too, because a lot of parents are still hesitant about putting their kids in a child care center where there's 20, 30 kids, and then within centers you kind of have a little bit more free range, a little bit more control over their child as well versus in a child care center.
So, do you think it's a good idea to child care?
I think it's whatever the family needs. I'm not going to go either way. I'm homeschooling right now, but I know if I was in a position where I could not and I had to put my child in a child care center, it was that's just a situation that I've seen and I've heard a lot of people are going through. And so it's easier for you, if you're comfortable with that, to put your child in childcare versus trying to keep them home and trying to go with the crowd or trying to do new things and have it overwhelm you, because your child needs you to be healthy as well. So if that's what's going to make the parent healthy, the family healthy, and bring them together as a unit, then go for it. I just say when it comes to child care centers, to be very mindful of the teachers and the surroundings, because anybody can pretend when you walk in the door.
Absolutely.
Okay? When you're in child care, you know when those tours are coming, so everybody's just on their best behavior. For those parents out there who are looking to put their children back in child care or have their children in child care, the best thing to have with the teacher is communication. It's not just a transaction. You don't just drop your kid off and pick them up when you're off work and going to work, because that's what creates that gap. And children notice that as well. And they take advantage, because if they know you're not checking up on them in school, and they know that the teacher is not necessarily going to reach out and socialize either, it's just kind of like a free-for-all. So having that communication brings out the best relationship for the parent and the child, which is what I've seen. Some teachers don't like, being all up in everybody's business and going to birthday parties and stuff like that, but I was that teacher. I was at all the kids' birthday parties. We doing all types of stuff. If I'm going to the park one weekend, I'm going to invite my friends and my family with me and see if they want to go, so they can see me outside of that element as well, outside of just school, outside of just Miss Alycia, because then that's like, oh, like either she's like this all the time, or she has a family too, like she does this too, like my mommy does, or she like, mommy, this is what Miss Alycia does. They like to show off their teachers. Kids love to talk about their teachers. So when you build those relationships, that's just the best thing that you can get out of it when it comes to child care. And just, taking those precautions, making sure that those child care centers are taking those precautions as well, and not being so uphung on cameras in the classroom. Because as we know, cameras in the classrooms don't stop anything. You're just able to see it, get angry faster, and show up to the school faster. That's about it. You have to have that trust in your teacher or in your child's teacher to be comfortable at work, to be comfortable at home if you're working from home. It's all about creating that environment, that space, that foundation, that relationship, so that families are at ease when your child is with you. Whether it's a family center, in-home center, child care center, private daycare, church, whatever it is.
I agree. Um, so, do you think it's important?
You said, do I think what?
Pre-K is.
Oh, yes. It's very important. I never thought it was as important as I did until I started having kids, because I went to school for middle level education. I love working with the older kids. My specialty is math. And so that was my biggest goal. Like, I've always thought middle school was that boom point for the kids, that aha moment for the kids. When in reality, it is that preschool, that pre-K moment when you're able to foster your own independence at that age. So if you're going to pre-K, or if you're at home and learning these skills, it's easier for the child to develop and grow as they, go to first grade, second grade, fifth grade, and middle school. So that middle school doesn't have to be that boom moment. You shouldn't be in your teens just figuring out, yourself, or what you like, what you want to do, figuring out your attitude and stuff like that. I think kids should be able to learn about that when they're younger,
Mm-hmm.
so that they're able to control themselves, so they're able to self-help themselves, which in turn helps the family. And giving those kids that space to be independent. Now, not just letting them do whatever they want, but supervising them and kind of guiding them or leading them along the way while they're taking their own risks, while they're being independent, so that they can feel that trust, that bond between the parent and the child, or the teacher and the child themselves. So once I got into childcare, I was like, oh no, this is really where the kids learn. Like, this is that of where that tree goes, if they're going to be interested in learning or if they're not. That kind of happens in pre-K, in that within that time frame, and you can see that within the kids. I was like, oh yeah, he's definitely not going to be interested if we don't grasp this. Or at that age, kids are figuring out what they like to do, if they really like playing with trucks, what they want to be when they grow up. And if it's not necessarily along that path, kids have a list of things, so you kind of just play around and just build off their interests as they're young, versus, oh, let me wait till they get older and put them in this and put them in that, or teach them about this and teach them about that, because kids are very smart at a very young age. And the younger that you foster it, the younger that you notice it, you embrace it, that's going to be the best thing for that child when it comes to education, development, and growth.
Yeah, when I started, I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the school would serve,
Right, right.
but I uh,
They do. Don't get me wrong, they can do it, but when you're working with that age, you just have that patience, and that's something I like to tell the parents too. Don't just allow, if they get on your nerves, they get on the teacher's nerves,
absolutely.
and that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's something that that's what happens when you build that relationship with that family. You can be able to talk about those things that are getting on your nerves. So they say, oh, so they're doing it at school too. Let's let's build a plan on how we can do this. Or, I didn't notice that they were doing this at school, because a lot of parents really don't know what's going on at school, because a lot of them are busy. So that's when those daily reports come in. But it's up to the teachers as well to stop those parents. If you notice that a parent is really interested, but they just kind of have to move fast because that's just their lifestyle, it's upon the teacher to be able to kind of step up and say, hey, let me take a moment and talk to you really quick, or let me get your email, or is it okay if I get your phone number so that I can call and we can talk about the progress of your child? And it doesn't necessarily have to be bad. It could be that I've seen your child grow so much and I just want to brag on them really quick. Like, I just want to tell you how amazing he is or she is.
But that is the difference between a teacher and somebody.
Right.
Yeah, that's how you build.
Exactly, definitely. And some parents are very receptive of it. Some of them will be standoffish. And I know for me, when I first started out teaching, whenever I started teaching, I